Hi guys, and welcome back to another Wardle Road episode. Now in today's video you may notice I'm not in any particular usual setting anyway. I'm currently sat in what is now an empty box van. So in today's video I'm just going to be showing you a little bit around, because I haven't really done much on the actual inside of the box van video wise as far as I can remember. So I'm just going to show you guys a little bit of what's going on in here and some of the plans and some of the things that need doing and don't need doing. So that's what today's video is going to be about. But secondly, I'd like to apologise for it being so long since the last video. Now I'm coming to the sort of the final leg, if you like, of my training to be a freight train driver. So that's making good progress, and I hope in the next sort of month or so I'll be out there driving on my own, and then obviously in turn I'll have some more days off to come down the railway and crack on with some of my projects. But I do appreciate you guys sticking with it. Hopefully you haven't all disappeared since I last uploaded. But yeah, if you do enjoy this, please do hit the thumbs up, and any feedback, as always, will be much appreciated in the comments. So let's roll the intros and I'll show you around the inside of the box van. Right, so before we get into the main bulk of this video, I'd just like to give a couple of shout outs, and that is to Charles and Gary, who've both been using the JCBs and their diggers to help me get some of the larger components out of here, because while some of them I've been able to move by hand, a lot of them are extremely heavy. So without those guys, I definitely wouldn't have been able to get this all emptied. And secondly, is a shout out to a chap called Michael Whitchurch, I believe that's your name, hopefully I haven't butchered it, who's very kindly donated me, I think he's from across the pond, this LNER axle box cover. Now I'll put a picture in. I don't know if I remember showing you on one of the first couple of videos. 3 out of 4 of my axle box covers are original, but one has been sort of remade. Obviously it's got damaged or something, but this is going to be a perfect replacement to have 4 original LNER axle box covers back on. So again, cannot thank you enough. Really appreciate it. You didn't have to send it. He sent it completely free of charge, donated it to the channel. So yeah, really appreciate it, Michael. And if you're watching, hopefully this will be on when it's not raining, so I don't get the axle boxes full of water. But yeah, thank you so much, and thanks to as well Charles and Gary for helping me clear this box van out. But yeah, let's move on with the video. So we'll start the video where I started the introduction, and we'll start with this seat. Now this was very kindly donated, well, lent to me by Tierney Model Railway, as they haven't got room for it at the moment, and I said it can have a home in here till they do find room. But for now it's going to make a perfect place just to sit and chill out in between working on various projects. So to the left of me here, you may be able to make out RNAD, which is Royal Navy, I think it's Ammunitions Department or something like that. 209, 10 ton tear, 4140. Now I don't know if this was painted on by the Navy themselves when they had ownership of the van, or whether it was put on there by the previous owners, but this is information that I'd like to have on the outside, so I'll make sure I'm going to write this down or take a picture of it as reference. Well, I've got it now as reference on camera anyway, so then I can redo this wagon info on the outside. But the actual body itself, woodwork wise on the inside, is really good. Like, there's not too much to do at all, to be honest with you, other than sand a lot of it back and repaint it. So what you'd have seen in those last 2 time lapses, we've actually moved on a little bit since the last clip, about a week since the clips before the time lapse. I've got a couple of days down the Colne Valley this weekend just to make use of the warm weather, and I've used the warm weather to get a first coat of white paint onto this side here. Now, prior to the paint, as you'd have seen from some of the other shots, it looks a little bit worn and torn, so I've used the white paint just to kind of neaten it up. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. I might give it a second coat as there's a few patches, but it just kind of makes it a little bit cleaner and looks a little bit more well kept than how it was before. And on the topic of brightening things up in here, I've actually installed the only 2 lights we're going to have in here. These are these LED strip lights, one up here and then one behind the camera. Now this wire hanging in front of me here is actually going to run along the inside here. So it's then going to come around this arch, follow the wall down here, and then somewhere around here I'm going to have a switch, and then that's going to obviously control the lights. So to get the power into the box van, I've actually installed an exterior plug on one end of the van. I'll put a couple of pictures of that in now, and that basically runs from the outside into here, so it means when the van is positioned in the siding or something like that, I can have an extension lead permanently connected to it, and it just means I've got power in here for a small heater or the lights and anything else that might need powering while I'm in here. So down this end of the box van, as I mentioned a second ago, I've got another LED strip light just to the side of me here. And the other thing I managed to do is actually get this unbolted from the back wall, this shelf. And that means that finally, after such a long time, I can actually get the 2 vents installed on the wall just behind me here and make it look a little bit more original. So I think as it's getting a little bit late in the day today, I'm back down again tomorrow to sort of finish the last bit of this video, or what you will see of this video, and hopefully tomorrow I'll get those vents on and a little bit more painted. I'm not entirely sure if I mentioned at the start of the video about what the actual end plans were for this box van, but doing a quick measure up, I've got roughly 8 foot wide by about 18 foot long. So that's the rough space. If you guys have got any ideas of what you would do with the box van if you had all this space to work with, what would you turn it into? Now, my current idea, it might change, it might not, is to have a workbench area all around this side here. And this is going to be sort of a painting area, which means we can separate it from when Charles and I are working in the workshop. It means that when we're painting stuff, we're not getting wood shavings and all sorts of stuff all over it, as it's in a separate place in here. So this will be a nice, clean, tidy area to paint. Then behind the camera is going to be a kind of, as you'd have seen from the intro of the video, lots of shelves around the outside of it, and then a sort of little seating area there as well, just to A, chill out, and B, do filming and intros and everything else from there, as well as store various paints and all that kind of stuff. Again, clears a little bit more space out of the workshop. So yeah, if you had this kind of space, do let me know in the comment section down below what you would do with it, and I'll see if I can pinch any of your ideas. I'd also like to point out as well that the 2 LED lights, all the trunking and the wire itself is actually very kindly donated to the project by the Tierney Model Railway Shop. So just wanted to say a huge thank you to those guys for putting some of these components forward. It obviously helps me save a little bit of money on the project and gets things moving a little bit quicker as well. And then of course Charles and Gary, I think I mentioned earlier, for helping clear some of the space in here, well, all of the space in here, and actually meaning that I can get on with this, because it's been a little while since we've had any updates on the box van. So what I'm going to do now is pack up for the day, and then the next shots you'll see is tomorrow, hopefully we can get a little bit more of this painted. So yeah, I will catch you in a second. So second day of the weekend, and as you can see from that initial time lapse, I've got a first coat of white paint on the back of the box fan here. Now the bottom, I say 3, maybe 4 panels, I'm not too worried about going over on a second coat, because my plan is for this end is to have some kind of clean area paint station type thing, as I might have said earlier in the video, just to separate it from the workshop slightly. So there'll be workbenches all around here, and then I'm thinking the shelf that you've seen behind me in the intro to the video, perhaps have that on the wall just to the left of me here. Now down the bottom here you can see the wire coming through from the plug outside, and I've also got a box here ready for some sockets to sit just on there. I'm then going to run some trunking along the bottom and then up to here. Then here I will have a switch, and this will be for obviously the lights. And just before I started filming, I actually pinned back the wire just to the roof here, so it's all nice and neat. So yeah, just going to run that down here, wire that in there, and then drop the trunking down to there, round to the socket, and then hopefully that'll all be good. Yeah, first coat of that, as I say, might not bother doing second coats on the bottom 3-4 planks, but the rest of it will get a second coat at some point. And again, it just makes it look a little bit brighter. So what I want to do now is get on with installing the socket box down there. Right, so it's coming to the end of the day now, and I finally wired up the switch and the plug, and as you would see from the time lapse, the trunking's in as well. Now I've just left this loose because I haven't had time to neaten it all up, but I will take that off and neaten it up, probably pin it back here or put some trunking up to the switch here. But just wanted to make sure the lights are working. So I've tested them already, so here we go. There we go, fantastic, and they're really, really bright as well, which is perfect because I positioned them one in this end and one in that end, so even when the doors are open, these areas down here are still, they're not very bright, but hopefully by doing it like this, it means that we can now have light all the way through, even when it's daylight outside or when it's dark in here. I may even eventually put a third one in the middle, just for when the doors are closed, just to light the whole thing up, but I think for now, obviously I don't know what it's going to be like in pitch black because it's not dark at the moment, but for now I'm really happy with how they've come out actually. Of course it is a little bit bodged, but it wouldn't be a Wardle Road video if there wasn't a little bit of bodging involved, but the whole aspect, the whole process of it was relatively simple. It took a little bit of time, but these things do, but at least we have 2 working lights. Now I don't know if you can see on the camera there, but there's a little red and black wire here, and that plugs into an LED strip that goes across the top if you were to have them hanging, and that I'm guessing lights up above the light as well if these were hanging slightly lower. But it does mean that I can in fact run some LED strips off there, so if I do want to eventually branch out some LEDs either way, that is a possibility later on down the line. And have looked in the camera as well, and these don't flicker or anything under behind the camera. Some lights, I can't remember what type of lights it is or LEDs it is, but they do flicker if you use a camera with them, but these are, from looking at it, really, really good. So super happy with that, and yeah, brings a successful end to the weekend. And I think on that note, that's going to bring us to the end of the video. Now, hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing a little update on the box fan. I know it's been a long time since the last one, but obviously getting everything out of here, as I mentioned maybe at the start, it's taken about 5-6 solid days of 2 JCBs to get all of this stuff out. But now we've got the space, lots of opportunity. Like I said early on in the video, if you've got any ideas of what you would do with this space, I'll leave the dimensions in the description, and they should have been on the screen as well when I mentioned it earlier. And let me know what you would do with this space. But as I said, this is probably going to be a paint area, and then behind is going to be some kind of like chill zone or something. But as always guys, if you did enjoy the video, please do hit the thumbs up, and if this is your first time here, please subscribe. It helps the channel grow and helps spread the videos to other people who might find this interesting. But yeah, other than that, any feedback, please leave it in the comment section below, and I will see you all in the next episode. Cheers.